What's up everyone, we're going to be going through the best NBA player props on Prizepicks today. Now I did want to show you the results from yesterday's picks from my exclusive Discord group, and as you guys see, we actually got 22 picks correct, which was absolutely insane. So we're on a huge hot streak, but if you want to get 22 picks right like me, win more bets, or receive the best picks from some of the best bettors in the world for less than a cup of coffee, you can access the exclusive Discord and some of the best sport bettors in the game by joining my Patreon, should be linked down below in the description. Once you join, you'll have complete access to the Discord and can start winning more bets today. So make sure to join my Patreon using the link in the description. And here's one of our members who just signed up and won himself $840 just yesterday. Another member who won $100 for the 5th day in a row since joining my Discord. So guys, if you want to win big money like our members, the link will be in the description. So go join the Patreon to have access to the Discord group. And I will be continuing to upload every single day on this channel the best bets and props. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss my daily uploads. Alright, so let's get straight to the first pick. And when it comes to these picks, I'm not saying to chuck all of them into a parlay and hope for the best. Pick and choose the ones that you like and the ones that work best for you. So the first pick we're talking about is Josh Hart for 15.5 points, and this one actually is for less. Now look at Josh Hart. We've actually seen him go in the under in 2 out of the last 5 games, and they do face off against none other than the Toronto Raptors. Now, this is going to be a really exciting game, and when we look at the matchup, you know, Toronto and also New York Knicks, but the Toronto Raptors do rank 24th when it comes to points allowed. However, the reason why we do like the under for this situation is that when it comes to Josh Hart, we tend to actually see him play that, you know, small forward-ish type position, sometimes even forward. But when it comes to those positions, we actually do see Toronto Raptors do a really good job at restricting points to those positions. So that's a big reason why we do very much like the under for someone like Josh Hart. Now, Josh Hart doesn't have the highest usage rate in points out of all members in this New York Knicks team. And we do see a couple of the other players taking a little bit more usage rate as Toronto allow more points for let's say the point guard position, and we definitely see someone like Brunson being able to take over, so we might not see that much scoring from Josh Hart coming into this game. So we definitely see that being a big effect here. On top of that, Josh Hart has had a recent outlier game where he had 26 points. We think that brought this line a little bit too high, that now there's a lot more value actually to go on the under here. Now his average over the last 5 is 16.8, but like I mentioned, that outlier game really brought this average up. But we think coming into this next one, we definitely see him going on the under here, because when we look at what the bookies are saying, the bookies also have him favored for the under as well, so that works out there. So Josh Hart, 15.5 points for less, I think is a great pick. Now getting to the next one, we're going to be talking about none other than Dillon Brooks. So Dillon Brooks, another great player, and this one is a points and rebounds, so a combo one for points and rebounds for 16.5, and this one is for less. Now we look at someone like Dillon Brooks. We've actually seen him go in the under in 1 out of the last 5 games, and they do face off against none other than the Brooklyn Nets. Now when we look at the Brooklyn Nets, we do see that the Brooklyn Nets rank 14th when it comes to points allowed, and then moving on into rebounds allowed, we actually see the Brooklyn Nets rank a lot better, as they rank actually 9th. So, you know, when it comes to Brooklyn, they do rank pretty mid to highish tier when it comes to those 2 categories, and the reason why we do very much like the under for this situation here is that Dillon Brooks tends to play that small forward position, sometimes even forward at times, but Brooklyn Nets actually do a really good job, just like with the Josh Hart pick, at actually, you know, restricting the forward position. So because of that, we definitely see someone like Dillon Brooks going on the under here. When we look at a per position basis, we see that Brooklyn do a great job at defending that coming into this matchup. And we also look further, Brooklyn Nets, Houston Rockets, we are expecting a little bit less usage rate from Dillon Brooks due to the fact that the pace may be a little bit slower as well in this game. Now, Houston are a pretty slow paced team. Brooklyn are a little bit faster, but when it comes to Houston, we actually see them slowing Brooklyn Nets pace down, which could definitely lead to less pace, less volume for someone like Dillon Brooks. And the fact that Dillon Brooks doesn't have the highest usage rate in these departments, we see other players in this Houston team taking over, getting a little bit more stats than Dillon, which should lead him to the under there. So for that reason, we do very much like the under for this situation here. So Dillon Brooks for 16.5 points and rebs for less, I think is a great pick. Again, to the next one, we're going to be talking about another great player, and that is Triple J of Jaren Jackson Jr. Now, when it comes to Jamie, great player, as we all know. And this one is for assist for 2.5, and this one also is for less. Now look at Triple J. We've actually seen him go in the under in 2 out of the last 5 games, and they do face off against the Chicago Bulls. Now we look at the Chicago Bulls. We do see that the Bulls do rank 29th when it comes to assist allowed. So they rank really low. However, the reason why we do like the under for this situation is that Jaren Jackson Jr. doesn't have the highest usage rate in the assist department, and on top of that, Triple J does play usually that small forward and forward position, and Chicago Bulls actually do a really good job at restricting assists to that small forward and also forward position as well. So we definitely see those two things being taken into full effect coming into this game. Because of that, we definitely like the under for this one, as we have seen Triple J over the last 2 games. He hasn't been able to perform that well in that assist department, and it's because he doesn't really have the play style that he has. It isn't really intended to get assists. That's why his average is so low at an average of only 2.4 over the last 5 games. So we definitely see that taken into consideration, especially on top of the fact that Chicago do a great job at actually Triple J's position. So for those reasons, we do very much like the under for this one. When we look at what the bookies are saying, the bookies also have him favored for the under as well. So Jaren Jackson Jr. 2.5 assists for less, I think is an absolute steal. So as you all know, I do want to get these picks out to you as soon as possible, but Prizepicks is delayed with some of their lines. So here are a couple of players you should definitely watch out for when their lines drop. So the first player we're going to be talking about is none other than Tyrese Maxey. Now Tyrese Maxey has done a fantastic job all season. He does play for the Philadelphia 76ers, and he has been averaging 27.7 points, 3.4 rebounds, 6 assists, while also shooting 44.2% from the field. So he's done a fantastic job for this Philadelphia 76ers team, and they do have themselves a great matchup against the Dallas Mavericks. Now 76ers are 19-29, and when it comes to the Mavericks, they are 26-24. Now when we look at actually the Dallas Mavericks, we do see that they have been on the news for quite some time due to a big trade that we all probably know by now. But when it comes to the Dallas Mavericks, we do see that when it comes to points allowed, they do rank 16th. On top of that, moving on into assists allowed, we also do expect them to do pretty poorly, as they do rank 19th. And then rebounds allowed, they also rank 19th as well in rebounds. So all 3 categories they rank very, very low in, and that's a big reason why we do very much like the over for someone like Tyrese Maxey coming into this matchup. Tyrese has a fantastic usage rate, whether it's points, rebounds, and assists. He may be a little bit higher in points and assists, but when it comes to someone like Tyrese, Mavericks actually do a very poor job at restricting points, rebounds, and assists to the point guard position, and we think Maxey should be able to take advantage of that coming into this game. So for that reason, even in a lower usage rate department like rebounds, we still see someone like Maxey being able to go on the over. And on top of that, when we look at Maxey over the last 5 games, he has been putting on an absolute show. He's coming off a game against Boston where he had 34 points, another game against Denver where he had 42 points and 9 assists, and also a game recently against LA Lakers where he also had 43 points as well. So he's been putting on an absolute show. Now Joel will be most likely sharing the floor with him. It is still predicted whether he will play or not, but even if he does play, we don't see that affecting Tyrese Maxey's usage rate. We still see him being able to go over on his line in this matchup. So for that reason, I definitely would keep an eye out for the over for someone like Tyrese Maxey. Like I always mentioned, keep an eye out for the line first. If it is under his averages, definitely look to go on the over, and I definitely see a lot of great value there. Now getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Jalen Brunson. So Jalen Brunson from the New York Knicks has been doing a great job for the Knicks, averaging 25.7 points, 2.9 rebounds, 7.5 assists, while also shooting 48.9% from the field. So he's done a fantastic job for none other than the New York Knicks, and the New York Knicks do face off against none other than the Toronto Raptors. Now Knicks so far this season are 33-17, so they do have a great record, and they face off against the Raptors, and the Raptors do rank 24th when it comes to points allowed. They also rank 18th when it comes to assists allowed, which is also interesting to see there. And then also rebounds allowed, we also see the Toronto Raptors rank a little bit better as they rank 13th. However, overall, we still do like the over for someone like Jalen Brunson, but we would definitely focus a lot more on points and assists in these categories. A big reason being is that when it comes to Jalen Brunson, yes, he is a fantastic player, but on top of that, he does have a really high usage rate in the points and assist department. So we definitely see someone like Jalen Brunson being able to go over in this situation here. Now, on top of that, also, when we look at Toronto Raptors, they do a very, very poor job at restricting points and assists and also rebounds to the actual point guard position. But like I mentioned before, Brunson has a higher usage rate in points and assists, so I definitely would focus on those two more, more interestingly. So because of that, we definitely do like the over for someone like Jalen Brunson. He is coming off a game where he had 42 points, 10 assists, and 6 rebounds, and we are expecting him to put up similar results, especially against a really, really poor defensive Toronto Raptors team. So definitely keep an eye out for Jalen Brunson's line. I see a lot of value there to go on the over, but specifically points and assists. Now, getting to the next player, I'm talking about Jalen Green from the Houston Rockets. Now, he's been averaging 21.5 points, 4.3 rebounds, 2.8 assists, while also shooting 42.9% from the field. So he's done a great job for none other than the Houston Rockets, and the Houston Rockets have a record of 32-17, and they do face off against the Brooklyn Nets. Now, it is going to be an exciting game, and Brooklyn Nets do rank 14th when it comes to points allowed. They also rank 21st when it comes to assists allowed, and then also when we look at actually rebounds allowed, we do see that Brooklyn Nets do rank a little bit better as they rank 9th. Now, when it comes to someone like Jalen Green, we do actually very much like the over for this situation here, but we would strictly actually focus on strictly just points. A reason being is that it's a little bit more 50-50 when it comes to assists and rebounds. Jalen Green tends to have a more consistent usage rate in the actual points department, and on top of that, he is a shooting guard. And when we look at actually, the Brooklyn Nets, they do a very poor job at restricting points to the shooting guard position. So that's where we really see Jalen Green being able to take advantage of this. On top of that, when we also look further, we also do see that when it comes to the Houston Rockets, Alperen Sengun is expected to be out for this game, which I definitely think is even going to give Jalen Green a bigger chance to be able to go on the over here. Now, like I always mentioned though, especially with a pick like this, even if Sengun does end up playing, which is most likely he isn't going to play, but even if he does play, we still see Jalen Green being able to go over on his line due to the fact that the Nets do a really poor job, especially against shooting guards.